These videos are an unfolding of a no system over the course of time, which can be looked upon as a system when viewed from a different vision, a vision of far as opposed to near. The specifics of the daily turn into the yearly when looked at in a rounded circle of 365 individual points, which at closer analysis are only points with nothing in between, held together by an open gap. This open gap is always symbolized by the continuum of the Vav itself. The Vav as the filler of the space between two Yuds, connected to each Yud, making the Aleph. Everything obviously found in the Aleph. And as we look how the Aleph is made, a Yud on top connected to a center, and the Yud on bottom connected to the center. And what is that center? That center is a Vav. A Vav that's on a diagonal, a 45-degree diagonal. What is that diagonal but the square root of 2? It's the diagonal of a square, 1 on each side, the square root of 2. That diagonal is written on purpose like this between the two Yuds. Why should a Vav be written in a diagonal? Some feel it's because of the lack of perception we have here in Olam Hazeh and in Olam Haba. That Vav will be written as a straight line with a Yud to the right and a Yud to the left and a Vav down the middle. But I say no. I say the Vav is written like this to give us a different perception in absolute. A 45-degree perception that makes a different type of change. You see, it's written like this on purpose. This square root of 2, when written in another way, could be 3 over 2. 3 over 2 as 1 and 1/2 is Shalem Vehetzi. The old Shalem Vehetzi, when extended out into more detail, becomes a square root of 2. This is a great perception here, that what looks like irrational number, this diagonal approach to life, is what we're really looking for in the opus itself, where it only can create with a diagonal line. We can't create with straight perception. The real perception here is for man to be on this 45-degree, 45-degree, same as the Adam Gematria. The Adam Gematria is 45 degrees, that's the perception of man. We take the straight perception and we slightly bend it to the left. This left-handed path, this incorporating the left is what's needed to the right-hand straight approach. Until we are able to incorporate the left within this opus of the Aleph. Meditating on the Aleph shows this to the left. When it's to the left, the lower has a higher origin on the Aleph, and the upper has a lower on the Vav, and the upper Yud has a lower origin on the Vav itself. The meditation on the Aleph shows this perception, this correct perception of the Vav. For me, this Vav is everything. It's the mark that was put on Cain. Mark of Cain was a vav put on his forehead. Later place of the tefillin, the vav. The vav has its own spelling in its din. It's the same as the spelling of Kedusha. It's 2 vavs make a vav. The vav is 6, but it's really 12. So all 12ness relates to the vav. Remember that each segment, every column of the Torah is supposed to start with a vav. It's the inclusion of everything. The vav is what's found between the pieces in Abraham's first covenant. We split the animal and then walk between the pieces. What's walking with us but the Shekinah, this fire, walks in the vav itself. The Aleph as the covenant between the pieces, which later also shows the 3 aspects of the bris itself. But the first covenant is between the pieces, an obvious split of the one animal into 2, the 2 yuds representing the upper and lower waters. And what's between that? The rakia. Everything is between that. Everything exists between. The 2 vavs themselves form a channel when you spell the vav, and there's something between. Sometimes there's a letter, an aleph, or a yud between. It could either be 13 with an aleph, or 22 with a yud, or just 12. And what is the 3 spellings of the vav? 22, 13, that's 45, and 12, 47. That's the name Yud Kei Vav Kei plus Aleph Hey Yud Hey. That's what comes out of the vav. The vav is 6. 6 is always sex. It's the yesod. It's obviously a phallus. There were 2 vavs on the torso, Teferet and Yesod. Ze'anpin itself is the vav. It comes between 2 hays of Bina and Malkus. The Yud is something way up, too far up, so we only go by Hey, from Bina, Hey, Vav, Hey. The Vav is between the 2 Heys, the 2 aspects of the feminine, which are split, and they're always split, and then the Vav walks between it. A Vav has a Vav, when you walk with God between the pieces. This aspect of the letter Vav is something that is so high. How we get it in? We're always between. In all philosophies, not only Judaism. It's the middle. It's between day and night, between the suns. We're always in the between. We're never in the ends. We're always going someplace. Lech, halacha. We're always going someplace. How to spend this time between. It's the only time we have. When you play a point in tennis, it starts and then the strokes between. When you write a novel, it's the space between the first and last. When you do a Torah start with a bet, end with lamed. It's between. Everything is a between, and that's symbolized by the letter Vav itself. As symbolized best as between the pieces. The energies of life can only be exemplified and shown and explicated by a source that's between. Worrying about beginnings and ends or nothing. There's always a gap between. This video spends time filling a gap between two known points. That's what we're worried about now. This is the beginning of talks on the letter Vav. The space between two sephirots, the lines between the square root of 2, the great secret of Judaism is the square root of 2, the diagonal line in the Aleph, which happens to be a Vav. So as we express some of this, this is a short or long introduction to the space between.